there was a queen who had no child. She prayed to God every day. An angel came down from heaven and said,
"You will surely give birth to a son, and he will have good fortune."
Soon the queen gave birth to a son. The king was very glad. There was a wicked cook in the palace. Hearing that little prince would have good fortune, he wanted to steal the prince. One day, when the queen was sleeping, he stole the little prince and sent it to a distant place. He then sprinkled chicken blood on the queen's clothing and told the king the little prince was taken away by a beast. Seeing the blood on Queen's clothing, the king thought the queen did not take good care of the little prince. So he put the queen in a black tower and did not give her any food. The queen was there for 7 years. God made 2 angels become little white pigeons. They flew there to send her bread and water. The bad cook and the little prince lived together. When the little prince could talk, he let little prince have various things. Whatever the little prince asked for, he would get. He let the little prince have the palace and the garden and a pretty little girl. The bad cook feared that the little prince still would return to the kingdom one day. So he told the little girl to kill the little prince at night. He ordered the little girl to cut out the little prince's tongue and heart as evidence. The little girl did not want to do this. The bad cook said,
"If you do not do this, you will also lose your life."
The girl covered the prince with a quilt. Then she cut out the tongue and the heart of a little deer. When the cook walked into and took it, the little prince suddenly stood up and said,
"You are a bad man. I will punish you. You will become a black dog with a curly tail."
Then the bad cook became a black dog with a curly tail. The prince said to the girl,
"I miss my mother. Let's go to the palace together."
The girl said,
"It is so far. How will we go?"
The prince changed her into a pink flower. Pulling the dog, he went home with the flower. He walked for a long time. At last he came to the tower where his mother was. The tower was very high. He got a ladder and climbed to the top of the tower and cried out,
"Mother, are you still alive?"
The queen answered,
"I am still alive. Who you are?"
The prince said,
I am the prince. The bad cook stole me. Now I have come to save you."
The prince pretended he was a hunter and said that he wanted to serve the king. The king said, "I have not eaten meat for a long time. If you can kill a wild animal for me, I will employ you." As soon as the prince went to the forest, he got various kinds of animals, more than 200, and sent them to the king in carts. The king was very glad and held a grand banquet and entertained his ministers. The king let the hunter sit beside him. The prince hoped that one minister would ask after the queen. When he thought about this, a marshal said,
"King, how is the queen now?"
The king said, "She let the beast eat the prince. I do not want to mention her." The hunter stood up and said,
No, it was the bad cook who stole me and framed my mother. I'm your son.
Saying that, he led along that curly-tailed dog and let it resume the appearance of the bad cook. The prince again took out the pink flower. He made her become a girl and then said,
This is the good girl who saved my life.
The king immediately executed the bad cook, received the queen, and held a wedding for the prince and the girl who was the pink flower.